Any gaming shit to cover? I don't think so. Oh, yeah, I guess we do. Fired.
Hey there, gamers.
Wait, the PS5 sucks? I thought he loved the PS5.
DreamCastGriffin here. Today we're talking about the history of PlayStation, because the previous CEO of PlayStation, which is Shuhei Yoshida, is very much considered to be the guy who basically made the brand. This dude basically took over as the CEO of PlayStation right after the PlayStation 3 came out. And the PS3 had a very bad launch. The system cost $600, it had almost no games, development was famously difficult on the PlayStation 3, and somehow Shuhei managed to completely turn that around. He was the CEO for all of the PlayStation 3 and almost every bit of the PlayStation 4, and during that time, think about the fact that when Shuhei was CEO, we got the best PlayStation games of all time. I mean, just consider the fact the entire Uncharted trilogy, everything when it comes to Bloodborne, all the stuff that we did with Miyazaki, just so much, right? Puppeteer, freaking Gravity Rush, just so many of literally the best, crazy, cool, unique games are directly because of Shuhei Yoshida. So it's a bit strange that Shuhei just made a statement. He did not leave PlayStation of his own volition. It turns out that in 2019, Jim Ryan walked in his office.
I thought everybody already fucking knew that shit. I mean, I thought that was already like established a long fucking time ago.
And fired him because he wouldn't basically make only live service slop. Now I want to talk about this, but I also want to look at the reactions and kind of just talk about why I feel like this is just a sign about why PlayStation has gotten to this strange point where it feels like Sony does not care about exclusives. Sony doesn't really care about beating their chest and making a good project. Now at this point, PlayStation just wants to sit back and let everybody else make the games for them while they just get that 30% cut of every game sold. They've gotten so incredibly lazy because they've already won. Let's get into it. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Look at this. Former head of worldwide Sony Studios says Jim Ryan fired him from PlayStation Studio. Jim Ryan wanted to remove me from first party because I didn't list him. He asked to do some ridiculous things, and I said no. Now, these tweets have thousands of likes immediately. He was talking about this at the Australian Games Fest, and everybody was like, this is just such a perfect dichotomy textbook example of suit versus gamer. Shuhei Yoshida legitimately loved to play games. There's tons of public statements, there's tons of video about it. Shuhei Yoshida was that.
That is true, man. He was like basically their guy who would go to all the studios and actually play the games and decide whether or not, you know, they would actually get continued development funds. Like, all the Sony studios used to be like in fear that if he showed up and thought their game was fucking dog shit, that they would just basically be cut off and they'd have to like restart. So, you know, that's what Microsoft needs, and plus Sony needs now too. Somebody actually, you know, ensuring that their games are actually worth fucking making, instead of just trusting the devs, dude. Creative freedom. Like, this was their tastemaker for many years.
Very unique talent that loved to play good games. And sometimes he didn't get it. He will fully admit, one of the things that's the funniest is Shuhei Yoshida, the first time he played Demon's Souls, you know, obviously the predecessor to Dark Souls, he played it and said, I really don't understand this. He said, I just don't know how it's going to sell. It seems too hard. There have been some times where he is just such a dyed-in-the-wool gamer. Sometimes it just didn't click with him, but he understood the grander vision of it. When will these idiots learn? Good Sony pivoted away, but look at the damage done. So with LS being live service, Jim Ryan missteps have ruined the PlayStation 5 generation. Everybody is talking about this. Shuhei Yoshida says he was fired. Jim Ryan wanted to remove me from first party because I didn't listen to him. I helped make Sony Santa Monica to make God of War, Naughty Dog to make Uncharted, The Last of Us, Sucker Punch to make the beautiful Ghost of Tsushima to 2014 after 11 years.
Well, you shouldn't have done that. Well, I guess Ghost of Tsushima's fine. I guess that's okay. I don't necessarily dislike Ghost of Tsushima.
Leading the first party development, I was fired from the role. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I feel like actually makes me mad, because the gaming industry, I feel like, lacks that spark of real raw creativity. It is very difficult to make a game at this point. It takes hundreds of people laser focused on a single vision, making crazy ideas, really reaching to the depths of imagination to make something that has never ever existed, right? Just in general, making a game takes a lot of work. But at this point, when it's, oh, you can only do what we have right now. PlayStation has this very tiny box. Oh, it has to be a live service game. Oh, you need seasons and monetization brackets and stuff. Shuhei was the kind of guy who was super good at saying, all right, I see what this is supposed to be, and I want to help you get it there. There's a whole documentary called Raising Kratos about the making of God of War 2018, and Shuhei is in that a lot, basically very, very brutally breaking down, going to Sony Santa Monica and talking about, this does not work, this does work, focus on this, not this. And obviously everybody just united says that game, God of War 2018, setting the stage for this like reinvention of Kratos, is good, like because of that development team, but in large part because of Shuhei. It is wild.
Well, you threatened to can it if it wasn't good. That's the thing, man. It's like, that's what we need. We need people actually ensuring the games are actually worth making. But nobody wants to fucking do that because, you know, we gotta respect the devs, dude.
Look at this. Jim Ryan, everybody, I feel like at the time, people didn't know how bad he was doing. I think that Jim Ryan very much coasted success-wise off the bricks built by his predecessor, Shuhei Yoshida. Gets appointed as CEO, shuts down Japan studio, Pixel Opus London studio, purchases Firewalk, Haven, and Bungie, pushed a poorly planned live service interactive onto many of PlayStation studios, resulting in a bunch of cancellations leave. So many people are annoyed about this, mostly because it really does feel like that, you know,
trust the devs, they'll make a good game. Exactly, man. They've been on a fucking hot streak as of late, that's for damn sure. Hell yeah. Oh, wait, never mind.
Baby versus nuclear bomb. One of the most generational talents who could have probably stayed in that role for another 5-6 years. We could literally be having the sunset of Shuhei now instead of having it before the PS5 even came out. Initiatives like this are almost annoying to me because when it comes to this long development cycle we're in right now, when it comes to gaming, something that just gets put on paper or planned or even full dome production, a lot of times games now take 5 or 6 years to come out, especially big first party PlayStation stuff. And I guess I'm annoyed about how many pieces that Shuhei put on the board before Jim Ryan just came up and flipped the table. And I feel like Jim Ryan took credit for a lot of what Shuhei did. And it's ridiculous. I wanted to sort of just scroll through a couple of the greatest hits of what they had to deal with, right? It is wild to think about this. This is one of the things that had to be dealt with. The biggest dumpster fire that is kind of forgotten now, which is something Shuhei had to deal with. The PlayStation Network got super hacked. 2011, PlayStation Network was out for 24 days. It was insane. This was just such a massive thing. Somebody basically broke into PlayStation headquarters and managed to steal like pretty much all the server data of everything, and they just had to shut it off for almost an entire month. It was such a crazy, crazy deal. And it is interesting to think about that Shuhei managed to even survive that. They gave out a bunch of free games. Like, there was Shuhei Yoshida talking about Bloodborne, why he was there during the entire development of it, how much it felt like Miyazaki himself loved the game right now. Miyazaki loved Bloodborne. I think he is interested, but he's so successful and he's so busy, he cannot do it himself, and he doesn't want anyone else to touch it, and the PlayStation Steam respects his wishes. Look at all the stuff he's done, right? Even when he's able to do stuff like this. These are the kind of statements that I think got him fired. The idea of Last of Us Online came from Naughty Dog, but Bungie explained what it takes to make a live service game, and Naughty Dog says, oops, we can't do that. If we do that, we can't make Intergalactic. Shuhei Yoshida played The Last of Us Online and thought it was great. I think that this is what Shuhei probably did better than anybody else, is he'd walk in and say, this is a good idea, it's unfinished. Here's how much this will cost, it's not going to work. Can the story be good? Can it be interesting? He pushed games to be great, even if you don't like some of the decisions he made. Some stuff like Last Guardian. Last Guardian probably took way too much time, way too much budget for a game that nobody even remembers exists anymore, right? Maybe you could say those are the tiny failings of Shuhei Yoshida, but this is
He also gave, I think he was the one who gave Kojima basically a blank check for Death Stranding, which, Yeah, they were not happy about that.
Kind of stuff that I feel like is going to be what goes down in the history books as what PlayStation did right was Shuhei Yoshida. Lately, I've been playing
Towards the end, he had a lot of misses.
a lot of PlayStation 3. I got a PlayStation 3 actually on eBay. This is totally true for $60 because it had a broken disc drive, and I just have a bunch of old PlayStation 3 games I bought back in the day. I've been playing PlayStation forever, so I just basically re-downloaded all my digital purchases from 20 years ago, and I've been playing them. And there's something about the PlayStation 3 that feels so inherently Shuhei. Just so much of just the cool, like as soon as you boot it up, the nice symphony sound, all the cool layouts, the X bar and stuff. And yeah, Shuhei wasn't involved in every single thing about making that console, but
It's like he made it himself, guys.
there is like a raw gamer passion about the PlayStation 3 that feels like we just didn't really have with the PlayStation 5. The PlayStation 4 had most of that, but we've hit this weird soulless corporate entity era. The PlayStation 5 does still have good games. I'm not going to pretend that nothing's coming out. I mean, just Friday I did a big review for Pragmata, and I love that. But that's the thing. Third party is better than it's ever been, and first party provably, measurably, is the worst it will ever be. These have been some off-the-cuff thoughts. How do you feel about Shuhei Yoshida? How do you feel about the state of PlayStation? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. If you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And please, keep dreaming. I kind of want to make a video. A lot of PlayStation 3 games still have people playing them, and I don't know. I think it'd be fun to actually record it. I've been playing some online stuff, and it's crazy to run into lobbies from games literally decades past, and people are still online. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always
It
click
cut
this
off.
link to see.
Brutal, man. I guess we'll never know what was actually said.